Hey, welcome to the Ostomy Guy podcast. I'm your host, Austin. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We got a lot of things going on. I'm really looking forward to a magazine that I'm working on, producing a lifestyle magazine for the ostomy community, so we can kind of bring the whole social media community to print and bring more of our brothers and sisters in the fold, if you will, as new ostomates, fresh out of surgery, get them networked with a support group, hook them up with the reps, get them into the community, following people, learning how to live with and deal with these issues is incredibly important, and the only way to do that is by sharing our stories, which is why I even started this podcast. So thank you everybody for listening. I really appreciate it. Today we're talking to Garrett, and Garrett is he's a vlogger and an artist. He does a lot of stuff online. He's hilarious. Check out his Instagram and Twitter. He'll tell us what those are. It's Garrett I think it's Garrett Taira. Dude, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it very much.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I said, you have a dope name.
Thanks. So, I'll tell you the story. So the movie came out in 1997. I was 14 years old, a freshman in high school, on my way home from dropping my date off for homecoming and going to my house, almost late for curfew. I'm speeding through this little town in Wichita, and I get pulled over. I literally get a ticket for false ID, false insurance, and speeding. And the movie only came out a week earlier. And so I go home, I'm late for curfew, and my dad and I had to go back to the city hall. We got it all removed and everything. Obviously, once we proved that was my name, they felt bad, so they didn't give me a ticket. But dude, it was awesome. I love being in high school with that movie.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah, I bet. You're probably a freaking stud with that name, man.
I thought I was, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's a cool name, especially yeah, because it blew up, didn't it, in 97? Yeah, when it first came out.
I thought it was awesome. Whether how big it was, like in regards to its sales, I don't know. But it seems like our generation latched on to that movie and all of them. If you liked them, you liked them. If you hated them, you hated them. But I wasn't friends with the people that didn't like it.
Yeah, that was a good movie, though. It was a good movie.
They're hilarious.
Mike Myers is so funny.
Yeah. So what have you been doing today? What's your day like?
So I had a doctor's appointment, a Zoom doctor's appointment this morning, and then I was trying to think of my next video idea for this week. Yeah. And I've just been stumped all day, and I'm just like, come on, creative juices, let's get going.
Well, dude, maybe something will trigger while we're sitting here talking. But the Redskin one was priceless, man. I was dying. Like when you gave the punch at the end, I was like, oh shoot, that's perfect.
Oh, dude, I appreciate it. Oh man, yeah. I was thinking, oh well, it's like about time that they changed. And I saw the guy. You heard about it, right? You heard that some guy's trademarking all the names.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wow, brilliant. Yeah. That guy's a genius. Yeah.
So funny. That's hilarious. So you're in Maryland. Are you a Ravens fan?
No, I'm actually a Redskins fan. I know. But I'll root for the Ravens when they're winning.
My nephew plays for the Ravens, so I was just going to tell you, if you ever go to a game, look for number 72, Bennett Powers.
Oh, no way!
Yeah, they just called all the players back, so he just left a couple days ago to report. So they're going to start having on-campus practices and all that stuff.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's freaking awesome.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, no, that's really cool. What does he play?
So he's a left guard. So his story's really cool. It's not long. I'll shorten it really quick, but he's only been playing football serious football since maybe freshman or sophomore year of high school. And he wasn't getting much playing time even there because he was smaller. He didn't have a growth spurt till a little later. So anyways, he just sticks with it, gets a couple of offers from some colleges, decides, I'm just going to go the JUCO route and see if I can't get a little more size on me and learn a little bit. OU, Stoops flies in and recruits him, and he plays for OU for his sophomore, junior, senior year, and was a whatever they call it. He was an All-American in all 4 areas, voted by all 4 deals. So he was just a stud, and then he got picked up by the Ravens.
Holy smokes!
Yeah,
that's freaking awesome.
My oldest brother is 14 years older than me, and this is his middle child. There's 8 kids in my family, so my older brother's he's way ahead of me, and I'm one of the younger ones. But his middle child is my godson, and that's who plays for the Ravens. Isn't that dope?
His middle child's your godson.
Yeah.
And that's who plays for the Ravens.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to hook me up.
I will.
I would love to do something fun with him and stuff like that.
He'd totally love it.
Yeah. We have a comedy sketch crew, and that's kind of not doing too much right now.
Yeah.
But we had one in Baltimore.
Okay.
That was really, really popular.
Oh, very cool. Well, his fiance just moved out there with him. She's going to be a nurse at Johns Hopkins. So they're.
Oh, that's a great hospital.
Yeah, she's allegedly super smart. Apparently, I mean, they're not picking up slouches from there. I know that.
Allegedly, yeah.
Yeah.
No. Johns Hopkins is one of the best hospitals in I think the Maryland, D.C. area.
Yeah.
So definitely it's the hospital to go to if you want really great care.
That's cool. All right, dude. So I want to know a little bit about your story. I want to know a little bit about you. So take me back a little bit and tell me, where'd your health problems begin, and just kind of how they broke into your world, and what were they, and what ages?
Yeah. So I was first diagnosed with it's an orphan disease. It's an orphan condition called chronic intestinal pseudo obstruction. Yeah. So at 9 months, I was diagnosed, and from there on, I didn't get an ostomy until my senior year of high school. It's a rare condition that doesn't allow my body to process the food going down. So it can't. It's like a motility condition. So nothing really moves, right? So I don't really have motility in my intestines, and my stomach doesn't flush like everyone else's. So it's everything's very slow, right?
Yeah.
So all my nutrition kind of came from IV nutrition. And so I had do you know what a catheter is when they put one of these in you? Yeah. So I first started out with a catheter where they would poke me with it. And then I kind of graduated into getting a central line.
How old were you?
So I was 7.
Okay.
When I got the central line, but I had the catheter up until then.
Yeah.
They gave me the central line because I fractured the catheter while I was playing. Yeah, so it was a huge deal. They rushed me to the hospital. They were like, "What are we gonna do?" And so that's what they went with.
No way.
So, yeah. So they did that, and then they also gave me a G tube. Do you know what a Mickey G?
Yeah, but tell the listeners what it is.
Yeah, so a Mickey G tube is a button, kind of it's a tube that goes into your stomach, and it's used for either nutritional value, they'll try to give you liquids through there, but protein liquid, protein shakes, quote unquote protein shakes, right? And but I use it for venting my stomach because it builds up, and I told my stomach doesn't flush as quickly as everyone else's, so I'll use it to vent.
Yeah.
And then so after that, so we went through all of those things with multiple surgeries and some infections on the way, and then my senior year, I've always been active, and I've always been playing sports and doing everything I could to to have fun, right?
Yeah.
As a kid, growing up, of course. And so my senior year, it was one of those things where your senior year, you're like trying to figure out what you want to do, right?
Right.
And I was going to become a dentist like my father. And like, so my father and his father are both dentists.
Okay.
And I was going to become a dentist as well. But I was also on the line because I definitely wanted to, I kind of fell in love with like dance at the same time.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure which way I wanted to go. But it was December and Christmas was coming up. But I started getting these terrible stomach aches. And I kind of stayed in the house, and I thought it was like, oh, this is something that'll probably pass because I've always had stomach aches at that point in time as a kid.
And you're like
And
18 around here?
yeah, I'm 18. I'm a senior in high school, and stomach aches were always part of my life, and they would be like gut wrenching, and they would last like a few weeks, and that'd be it. But like this one seemed different, so we went to the hospital, and they found perforations in my intestines.
Oh, fun.
So, yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so they came into my room at like 2 a.m. in the morning and told my dad and I that they had to operate. And they were saying that they were going to try to give me something called an ileostomy. And at the point in time, I was in so much pain. I think I was on morphine at the time, and I was like, whatever, let's just do it. Like
there's not enough pain meds in the world. When you're there, when there's not enough pain medication, and you'll do anything.
Yeah. I mean, anything to make it go away,
Right.
Like, there's got to be something, right? So we did it, and then I woke up with it, and I saw it, and that shock.
Yeah.
It's like sticker shock, man.
And it's freaking clear usually. Like they usually have a clear bag on, so you're like, oh.
Yeah. And you're like, oh no, what was I thinking? Yeah. I thought I kissed your dreams as dancing goodbye.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, it was like, I remember, so I know I was out of commission for at least a week, in and out of like consciousness, like recovering after the surgery.
Wow.
But I remember afterwards, like walking for the first time, and down the hallway, I just kind of bursted into tears. And I could not imagine like how my life was going to go afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
it
like
broke you. Just sitting there thinking it's hard. You can't think out. You're trying to sit there and see your life, right? You were seeing yourself as a dentist. You're seeing things in a certain order. Like, even though we're sick, like a kid with the cast on, right? A little baby with a cast on their leg, they just keep scooting around the room. That's what, when you're active, you just do it, and you just do, and we can still kind of see our future. And we have an optimism, but like that, what hit me is the same thing that hit you. It's all of that stopped. I couldn't see a future anymore. I couldn't see me. The same me I was before I went into the hospital was not the same me that was leaving. That is for damn sure.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. It's like, it's like it felt like you're lost a little bit, right?
Yeah, exactly right. And I'm stuck in this world, and you're like, I mean, it's getting so much better, but there is very little. We are an outcasted group. There is very little support and help in the hospitals for ostomates emotionally for dealing with this stuff. And oftentimes I feel like we're often rushed out of the hospital too after those surgeries, and we're sent home, and it's even more confusion. And now you're just stuck there trying to deal with what? Oh my!
Yeah, they're like, this is how you do it, and then you're like, what? And then you go home. You're like, what do we do?
Right.
Yeah,
dude. And another thing. So think of this. So maybe you did this too. So a lot of people take what these nurses, whether you saw an ostomy nurse or not, maybe you saw a rep that knew the products and how to do this or not. I don't know. Everybody's situation is different. But like, I'll take what I heard as gospel and I will do it. Like because you're dealing with shit and these are like real pee and you're dealing with all this. It's like gross. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to do exactly what they said the best way that I can. And you don't want to make too many changes because you're dealing with shit and you don't want to have messes.
Yeah. And also like, I think it's so graphic to see. You're also like, I don't want anything bad to happen to like my intestine on the outside.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, exactly right. You don't know. That's exactly. They tell you it's numb, like you can't feel it, but it's there, and it's like
it's so scary. It is terrifying in the beginning. It's like, have you ever seen Tropic Thunder?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Where the guy's intestine comes out. It's like that.
Oh, shoot. That's hilarious. That's exactly right. I might post that clip with this podcast.
Oh my gosh, post that as like a meme. Yeah.
Oh shoot. That's so funny.
And, oh my gosh, yeah.
So
and,
how long after when you were standing there in the hallway crying did you get released? Like what? So you went from there. Was someone with you? Did you have any friends with you? Was it your folks?
Yeah, I stayed. My parents were with me, and like my parents have always been like through it, thick and thin with it. Me, and same with my whole family.
Yeah.
So like like all my years as like a kid, I'd never spend like a day without somebody in the hospital with me. So it was really like great to have that support system. And I'd also get visited by friends. And that was like the first time friends actually started coming to visit me, because my parents were always like, oh, like, don't like, we don't want to like make anybody come down to DC to visit, you know what I mean? We don't want to be like, we don't want to put them in inconvenience, but like, that was the first time friends came to visit me, and like, the school knew about it and everything like that. And it was awesome. Like having people visit you for friends, it was like, holy crap, it was dope,
That's awesome. Heck yeah.
But I'd be in the hospital for the next 3 months. So I was able to recover for 3 months and then continue school afterwards.
You were in the hospital for 3 months?
Yeah, I was there from December to like February.
Oh wow.
Like March-ish. Yeah.
What year was this?
This was 2010 to 2011.
Okay. So when all my stuff went down, it was 2006 to 2007, and I was in there from December to February. So I was thinking, dude, what if we were on the other side of the country the same year?
Holy crap, that would have been nuts.
That would have been nuts. God. I was waiting for like a bah! What?
Yeah. So how old were you when you got yours? In
22.
Yeah, you're 22. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Can you
trying
tell
to
me
mingle?
about that?
I was broken, man.
Yeah. How did it happen? Wait, what? I don't know too much about it.
So I was diagnosed with Crohn's and colitis when I was 10, and I had battled that since I was a kid, and I have lots of fistulas and abscesses and things like that on my backside, and I ended up having a huge abscess that blew a hole in my colon, and I had to get a colostomy bag then, which I thought was going to be temporary, but ended up being permanent because none of like my lower organs healed up it blew such a massive hole in my colon and ripped it. It just never healed, and the scar tissue never came in. So I had got a temporary one, and it's just stayed permanent since then.
Okay.
And that was 15 years ago.
Oh, wow. Dang.
Is that right? 14 years ago.
14 years ago? Holy smokes. How it's like, how's your transition with it and everything?
Dude, so the first 6 to 9 months, Garrett, I'm a pretty positive dude. I'm 6'5", all my siblings, all my brothers, I got 3 older brothers, and they're all bigger than I am. They're all great athletes and studs.
Holy
I got
smokes.
4 sisters, and they're all 5'11" and taller. and they're all D1 athletes. They're all studs. And so I had people around me that just moved through life with this. They just carried themselves really well and had a confidence about themselves that I was always very optimistic. And being the youngest of all of them, I was certain I was going to get this thing reversed, get back in shape. Things were going to be good, gain my weight back, and nothing healed up. I spent years trying to get the wound. I had a wound on my butt that was like, I mean, it was that big, and you could put your fist in it and it wouldn't heal. The scar tissue wouldn't heal up. And so it ended up having to keep the ostomy permanent because it's just so brutal. The pain was so bad. And so, yeah, so I thought it was going to be reversed. And then after 7, 8, 9 months and things weren't changing, I started realizing this might be permanent. And that's when I like broke again, because I was looking at it as it's going to go away. I can hide it for a little while, right?
Yeah.
I can keep this my secret for a little while. I don't have to tell everybody this is happening. I can keep going to the gym. I can kind of date, and I can get 9 months down the road without hooking up with anybody. And, you know, that's how I was thinking. And it wasn't happening. And I was, after that, I was broken. I mean, I was taking so much pain medication. I was going out and drinking all the time. I was trying to flush my life out with just being active and socializing and drinking and partying. And though I was very much a functioning alcoholic for that period of time, I kept working, but it didn't work. And it just broke me. And until I got into a couple of big bar fights, a couple of weeks in a row, man, where I literally, I was afraid for my life, that I realized, holy crap, I got to change some things. But I didn't handle it well for a while. And then I slowly began accepting things. Oh, it might have been 10 years ago or so. So it took about 6 years, 5 or 6 years for me to really grapple with, this is staying here, and I got to learn to accept it and be okay with it, because I was so insecure and depressed, just trying to act like it didn't exist to so many people. If you're just trying to live life, you kind of have to. And that's what I struggled with until I just learned and saw all these people on social media that were like, didn't give a crap, and they were living their life, and they were awesome and super pumped and showing their bag online. And I'm like, damn, I need that. I want that.
Keep going. Yeah.
No, so I wanted so much the energy that all these other people seem to have and embody. And they were living these lives with their ostomies, and they didn't give a shit what anybody thought. And they weren't as vain as I was. And I saw that, holy crap, this is my problem. It's all up here. I got to get over this stuff and be proud that I'm alive and see what's really in front of me. And once I began thinking and feeding off of that energy, man, it was a game changer. My life was totally changed forever. So since then, I mean, I've written a book, I've got this podcast, and I'm married. I got 4 kids. My wife is stunning. I'll tell you what, man, I'm in the middle of trying, literally, and I want you to be a part of it if you're down, but I'm starting a ostomy lifestyle magazine, because I want to have a very vibrant, big, colorful life of all the ostomates that are on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. And I want to put that on paper for new patients coming out of hospitals, so they can see and get all of our tags and learn to follow us and get online really early, so that they don't break like I did, so that isn't their reality. So now they get these kits from their doctors or their nurses or the hospitals, and they leave with tons of very good, like the companies, you know how it is. They got their stuff and it's all good, and we all need it. But this is what we need, right? I mean, we need this. No. We need each other.
Exactly. Yeah, and you mentioned like seeing all these people. I didn't see them till recently either. Like,
oh really?
Because I do remember like when in my early like college years, I would like, those accidents would happen. I'd go home or maybe like an accident would happen like at night, late at night, and I would just break again, and I'm a really optimistic person too.
Yeah, right.
So there was definitely like a learning curve with ostomies, that I hadn't experienced before. So yeah, like but like afterwards, then I was like also like same as you, I was like sorry, can I curse on here?
Yeah, go ahead. We can edit you out.
Okay, I was like, to hell with that. I'm not gonna. You don't have to edit me out. I'm not gonna give you that work. I was like, I'm just gonna fake it until I make it.
Yeah.
And then just like, and if I pretend that I don't care about it, neither will the women that I am interested in will, and the women that I'm interested, and if they do care, then it's like the people I don't want to be with.
Right. It's a great filter. It's a great filter.
Yeah. And then
it took me a long time to see it like that.
And like I think there's still like definitely insecurities about it for sure. Like,
sure. Oh yeah. They're not gone.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't brush it over the corner for the people who are listening. Like, yeah, and suddenly everything went away. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right. But I do have like, I guess, catches when I can catch myself and be like, all right, I'm not thinking straight right now. Like I gotta reel it back in. And
if you can recognize, if you have that self-awareness to see that you know that thinking is stinking thinking, like it shouldn't be there and that it's toxic. Like the number one thing I do is I try and talk to somebody. And it has to be like a buddy, somebody that can hear it and be real with me on it. But
yeah,
that's exactly right. You're exactly right. You still see that still happens, but you can catch yourself. And if you can catch yourself, you can save a whole lot of, I'll call it self-destruction, whether it's physically or mentally. I mean, because you can fall down a rat hole and not get out of it for a week or 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, exactly. And then I think I heard this thing on the internet, and they were like, yeah, someone was like, yeah, I think I was addicted to feeling bad.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like that sounds like a thing.
Right. You almost forget what feeling good is like. What you totally, not just physically, just having an open-mindedness to life. You forget. You could just enclose yourself. And when you forget what it's like when I smoke cigarettes. I forgot how good it felt to not have all that crap in my system all the time, right? Like,
yeah.
I had to quit and get away from it to realize, holy shit, I sleep a lot better. I can actually run. I could do a lot of things I couldn't do before, and things don't hurt now that used to. And I couldn't see it from the other side.
That's so real. Yeah, I feel that 100%.
So how long did it take you after your ileostomy to start seeing the social media community? How recent have you kind of started looking into or seeing people in the social media? Because we all actually kind of stay in our own life and in our own world. And if you're just busy doing that, you don't really think to go look out for other people like us. You have to intentionally do it.
Yeah. It's only been like 2 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
And I've had it for like since 11. So that's like 9 years.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I was like, woof. I was shocked. I was like, oh my God, there are a lot of cool people here. And I was just like, wow.
Right. Yeah.
I can like, then you see like the health and wellness people too, who have ostomies also. Yeah. And, like you said, are showing it off. And I'm like, that's really dope.
Yeah. Yeah. So you posted one of your last little posts on Instagram with you racing your brother. So being out on the beach with your shirt off reminded me of when the first time I went to the beach with my shirt off. It was a horrible experience because I had some random chick make fun of me, even when I was 23, even with a bunch of dudes who talked crap back to her for me, made fun of me for it. And I was on a bachelor party week in Mexico, and that was the first day. And dude, I was depressed and drank almost the entire time. And that set the bar for me for how unacceptable I thought having this thing was to the public. So I was always, you know, when you're sick, you always think your family accepts you. It's kind of like mom telling me I look good before prom, you know, she's supposed to, right? And so you always kind of think your friends and your family, your close friends and your family are kind of like that. They accept you the way you are, and that's fine, and that's that life. You know, you can fart around family kind of a thing. But you don't do that around other people. And I just positioned the ostomy life like that. This is for me, people that are close to me. I'll try to keep it as much to myself as I possibly can and not bother anybody about it.
Yeah, you know what? I always wore like a swim shirt, you know, going out. And until one of my friends, we were at the beach, and he goes, "Why are you wearing that?" And I was like, "Oh, just to cover up." And he goes like, "You shouldn't be doing that." And he was like, "You should just take it off."
Yeah.
And just like not wear a shirt.
That's a good friend right there, man.
Yeah. And that kind of like, boom, like freaking shot. I was like, yeah. Like, I was like, yeah, I should, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Right. That's exactly. And really, when you're saying that to the long period of time where you felt that way, like you had to. Like, people wonder, you know, I'm very passionate about, like, I'm going to send you a copy of my book, but when you read it, I feel I write with that passion, but that's because I went so many years putting myself in this hole. And I just want to say, screw you to it. Screw you to that thinking and that terrible way of life and that brokenness, because I'm not dealing with it. And and once you kind of see that, it's kind of like, no shit. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my damn, you know what? You got a problem with my ostomy? Screw you. That's so funny.
Yeah, that's 100. Yeah. Oh man.
So
it's like.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I recently went in the hospital for ulcers, right?
Okay.
And totally unrelated. I must have been really stressed out on my mind, and this was last year. And like, so they put me into a surgery, right?
Okay.
And then easy surgery. It was just like a scope, right? And endoscope where they like look in, but this time, since they don't have to go through my ass, they'll just go through the ostomy.
Mm-hmm.
Great thing about that. That's
right.
Great.
Exactly right.
But unfortunately, there were complications, and they perforated my intestine again. No. So I was right back into the hospital and I had like a balloon stomach when I was a kid because my intestines were inflated.
Yeah.
And I woke up with the same thing on heavy, you know, I was on morphine, what's the one above morphine? It's
Dilaudid,
yeah. Dilaudid, and then there's another fentanyl.
Fentanyl, yeah.
Yeah, fentanyl and Dilaudid, yeah. And I was just like, oh no, I'm back where I was started.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know, like I think it was a relapse, and I started feeling like a victim, and I started feeling like definitely depressed. I don't want to like play it up that I wasn't like, that everything was hunky dory, you know, and that life's not going to be hard sometimes, you know what I mean? But I was definitely depressed, and I worked. I think I've been able to work through most of it and get myself into that same mentality of like, like the cards I've been dealt, I'm gonna make my life what I want.
Right. It's time for me to be me. I'm done being the victim.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a drug, really. You kind of taste that victimness, and you can kind of fall into it. Remember, you like the pain, so you can kind of be drawn into that to where you have to go, no, it's not happening to me, and you bust out of it again.
Yeah. And I started to believe the realities, quote unquote, that I would put on myself. Like this is my life, I'm always going to be sick, quotation mark. And then exactly, I started to be like, that started to become like my mental world, where and then
so even when it comes to going out or hanging out, you're thinking this is the difference in mindset from you feel you're staying home, like you start not feeling good and you're sick before you're getting ready to go hang out with your friends, and you start going, poor me, I'm always sick and I can't go. Or you could go, and this is the way that I think about most everything is, yeah, I'm sick, I'm always sick, so go anyway.
Yeah. And then it's like, well, we might as well go just so we can get addicted to feeling good again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how much do you feed off of the people you're around when you go? How much do you grow and learn and find joy in that you feed off of other people when you get over yourself and you say no to that sulking and you just go?
Yeah. And then, man, does it feel good. It feels like you were never sad in the first place.
Right. Exactly right. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It really makes it all worth it in the long run.
It does. Yeah.
Because when you look back, people look up to you. All the people that love you and are around you, no matter where you are in those relationships, they look up. You hear it all the time. How impressed people are with how you handle things and that kind of stuff. And all you're doing is just waking up every day and trying and just not quitting and being thankful for the life that you have and the people in it. That's the only difference. And that's what actually ends up making you stronger and gets you around other people that you feed off of. That's really cool. Huh.
This is a good conversation.
This is a good conversation.
This is a good converation.
Dude,
yeah.
So give me some feedback on segueing from where we were just at to, you have a whole lot of humor in a lot of your blogs and your posts and stuff. And so you're seeing humor even in the midst of all the BS. So is that something that comes naturally? How do you allow yourself to see humor and see through the denseness of life, if you will?
Yeah. So, I think growing up, I think I was always kind of like, I was picked on for being different. Yeah. But I would always have my friend who would always like make, and he's like friend, like family member who would always like make jokes, and I'd be like, I want to be like him, and then like slowly, like, like you are kind of like who you hang out with.
Right.
And then more and more I would try to like come out of my shell more, because I was really quiet and shy.
Yeah.
But then more and more I would do it. And then I think in middle school, I was going to a different high school, and I was like, all right, now's the time to like totally remake myself and like go out of the way, crack the jokes that I think are funny. Maybe other people won't think are funny, but at least I'll say them. Yeah. And like we'll work from there, and
yeah.
And like go out of the way to say hi to people and talk to like pretty girls that I I did it, and I kept doing it, and I ended up winning homecoming king.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, which was crazy, because like I'm going up against the quarterback and everybody, and I don't know, I was like, there's no, I entered it as a joke, but everyone was like, everyone was for it, and like I had a total, like I had a huge amount of friends, and even we're still connected, like from my high school, which is great.
Yeah.
And
they love me. They really love me.
They love me. I'm a person too.
I have friends. Yes.
I have friends.
You forget that though, right? I mean, you really do.
Yeah, definitely. I think you take it for granted, and like a lot of times, because like everyone's living in their own little world. You know what I mean?
Right. All right. So looking back, what are you most proud of in your life so far?
This
Whether it's something
podcast,
you've
baby.
done or something you've overcome. What's that?
I said this podcast, baby.
Yeah,
Remember, subscribe to the
That's
Ostomy
awesome.
Guy.
That's awesome.
I'd say what am I most proud of?
Yeah. Even if it's overcoming something emotionally, or if it's doing something cool. Because you've been through a lot, man. I like to know, you know, we all have a perspective on life and things that we look at that are important, and I just like knowing kind of how you see where you're at and what you're most proud of at this point.
I think right now, I think I used to be like a big trophy chaser.
Yeah.
Like, you know, growing up with sports, you're always like you're built to be a winner. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. And you know, so I did like, I got to be shown, I got my clips shown on Ellen, and I was able to do a TED talk and things like that. But I think like I think I really like cultivating my family, and like just like building a bond between like my friends and family members, and just like, you know, just like those memories are like my favorites, and I think everything else shouldn't matter as much. But I still like those things, but don't get me wrong.
Well, think about this. So with your family and with the cultivation of those relationships and all of that stuff you mentioned, made the TED Talk Ellen experience that much better. And it gave you a community to experience and celebrate with that you wouldn't have had otherwise.
Oh, you're so right. Wow. Yeah.
So that doing that actually amplified those even more, rather than you just seeking out to be something, getting on a TED Talk and discarding your family along the way and getting on Ellen or being mentioned on Ellen and not having anybody to celebrate with. It means nothing, but you had someone to love and people who loved you, which actually made those experiences even better because they meant something, because you had someone to go back and tell who were proud of you for doing it.
Yeah. No, I would never thought about it that way, but holy crap, that's
yeah.
No, you're right. You're dead on. That's exactly the joy in like doing things, right?
Yeah, man. So think of this. Think of the person who would be listening to this that's dealing with the same crap you've been through and is in the middle of that darkest place you were at. What would you say to yourself and that person, if they're listening or a family member listening, that you would say to yourself to kind of help you take the next step upward rather than staying in the bullshit?
You know what? I think a saying that I really like to hear and like what gives me hope a lot is like, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like, it's always darkest before the dawn.
Yeah.
Right? And like there's like always rainbows on the other side of the storm, or something like along the lines of like, you can't have a rainbow without, I don't know, don't listen to that one. Listen, darkest before the dawn. That's the one.
That's it. That's the one. Yeah. Rainbows, schmainbows, forget it.
Yeah, rainbows, schmainbows. You don't need those. But yeah, like just like knowing that there's something better to come because you've been through this is, I think, important. And because then you won't feel like a victim, or you won't feel like going through this is just a tough time that I'm not going to get anything out of. You know what I mean?
Yep, exactly right.
Yeah. Because you telling me what you've been through shows that you grew a lot as a person.
Oh yeah.
And like, like emotionally,
Right.
and maybe you wouldn't be able to do like the things you're doing now if you hadn't gone through all that, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think suffering allows us to empathize with other people who suffer and other people's lives that I wouldn't have otherwise. So when I'm just worried about myself and I'm only looking inward, I get caught up in me. But the conversion of heart that took place like socially for me made me look outward at everyone around me and how much they were supporting me all this time. And then I was like, holy crap, man, I've like been held up by all these people all this time. And now I got a little bit, I want to spend the rest of my life giving back. And so once you start committing to those relationships, I began to care for the people that cared for me. I began to see, oh my goodness, you know, I know what embarrassment is and those kinds of things. So when someone's struggling with it, I can really relate, and I actually care now, rather than always thinking I need to get over this, you know, always thinking inwardly. It's more outward, which actually gives me a lot of healing and helps me see inside myself when I'm struggling. You know, you can kind of see in the people you're talking to, which is why I even started the podcast, was to have these conversations so that I can make myself learn from other people formally, and other people will see it. And I always thought people could always listen to conversations rather than going and listening to a talk. Like they'd rather listen and hear a story about you telling your story a little bit and having some fun rather than going and listening to a serious freaking talk by a couple of people who are just trying to be compliant. And, you know, I want to know something real. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I want to know, like, I want to know the nitty gritty. I want to know how you got there, and I want to know, like, no, I want to be able to relate and know that I'm going through the same thing, that I can get to a place like that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the last book you read?
What's a book?
Yeah. So I'm going to change that because I'm sending you a copy of mine. It's short.
Okay, perfect.
I wrote it for people who are ADHD like me and for the dad who will never read a book about his kid's health problems. That's who I wrote it for. It's short and to the point, and you won't be able to put it down. Pour yourself a glass of wine.
Hey, I would love that. Thank you.
Dude, go ahead.
I was going to say, did you see, let's talk about me some more. Did you see the medical video that I posted last week?
With your Call of Duty and your
yeah.
Is that your hydration bag?
Yeah, that's the TPN. Did you see like the full YouTube video?
Oh yeah. Oh
okay,
no! I didn't see I didn't know there was one.
Yeah. So there's a link in there, and I go through my medical night routine, and I'll walk through like waking up twice at night, having to empty the ostomy bag, to the medication, but like also like involving humor as well. And my goal with that is to kind of make it cool, you know, and make it hip. Because I've seen YouTube channels that talk about it, and I've seen them talk like about their stuff, but I want to make like a series, kind of like TV-esque kind of thing on like, this is dope. Like it's not like a medical,
right?
You know, you're not dealing with like a sick person. Does that make sense?
I loved it. So even just what I saw, I showed my wife, and she watches it, and she was cracking up. And the reason I point that out is because she got it. That's not her world at all. And she got it really quick, that this is something really serious that's actually authentic and brought to you with humor by a guy who's just showing you his normal routine. And it's just like, how could, and that's why I was cracking up, because it was so beautifully done. I was like, that's exactly, you know, what we all kind of think in our world. We think that stuff, and but that's what people who are like, you know, when you're broken, and you got to be able to see light in that stuff. And I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I think keep doing it. I love it.
Thanks. Dude, thanks. Yeah, I want to make a series on it, and I want to be able to like just like show the other ostomates so they can have something to relate to, you know, and not feel like they're sick, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I need to get we need to have some cards made. Can you get some cards made of some kind? Maybe I'll get it done. I'll get some information from you to have some cards made to link to, so that people in my new patient kit that are going to all these new patients in the hospitals, that'll have your link, your YouTube channel and everything, and maybe we can get a QR code so they can just snap it and go right to your channel.
Okay, cool.
I'll look into doing that, and I'll holler.
I would love that.
Okay, that'd be cool.
That would be sick. I didn't even know you did that.
Yeah, so I'm in the process. I've got about 400 of them I've got to get put together, and they're the first 400. And I'm trying to get into all the hospitals and clinics to get these doctors to give a gift of a new ostomy patient kit to them, which will expose them to our world. It'll give them a copy of my book, and it'll give them access to the podcast, to online nutritionists, to their ostomy supplier representatives, the ones who are getting paid, because that's who you talk to. You want to talk to a rep who cares about how many sales they have and get information from them. So I have Coloplast, Hollister, Adapt, all these companies, and ostomy support groups in every state where they can go. And so it just will basically bring this online community right to them so they can go find it right away and be able to battle through this stuff. And that's what I was thinking. I was thinking it'd be cool to add your card, put a card together with like your face doing something dope or something, and put your code on there and your YouTube channel and all that, so they can just type it in and go. Yeah,
dude, I would love that for sure.
Awesome. So tell our listeners where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Garrett Taira, Garrett Taira, and the same goes for YouTube and YouTube and TikTok.
It'll be in the comments.
Yep.
So look there and find it. And dude, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Hey, dude, thanks for having me, Austin. This was a great time. I had so much fun meeting you and learning more about you.
I feel like we just became best friends. I was like, this is awesome. I love it, man. The guy feels as passionate and angry and so full of joy as I am.
Yeah, perfect.
That's right, man. That's awesome. Dude, thank you, everybody, for listening. Please subscribe. If you aren't, tell a friend. Everybody who's dealing with this stuff doesn't want to talk about it, especially dudes. We just tend to mount up and get on down the road, and we chalk it up to, everybody has their own problems. But the gateway to that, as Garrett, you can attest, is to share that story, and if not, to listen to other people so you can feed off of them and realize, other people are dealing with the same shit. And it just isn't that as hard when you suffer together. Suffering alone sucks, but suffering together is, we can mount up and do it. And so please share with your friends, tell somebody you know, and like me, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.